2024 at 7:31 in the evening.
With a roll call, Director Slater-Carter.
Present.
Director Softby.
Present.
Director Young.
Present via Zoom.
Yeah. And Director Decker and Director Boyd are not in attendance tonight.
Good. President's statement. I'm glad we all survived the earthquake and the tsunami today. I'm glad it was all up in Eureka. It was a good reminder of the frailty of the coastline. Oral comments other than those on the agenda. I'm looking for hands or do we have any hands for public comment, Clemens?
I don't see any public comment.
I'd like to make one. There's the hand. Sorry.
Okay, Sid?
Yes. I just wanted to say, since I was at home, I wanted to thank my community for waking me from my sound sleep and letting me know there was an evacuation warning. And that's what community is all about, when they know somebody is at home and not capacitated to their fullest, and they try to get me to get up out of my house and evacuate. One of my neighbors went up to Seton Coastside parking lot and it was already full. But by the time I got dressed and rolling and tried to get my shoes on, it already had been canceled. But thank you to everyone in Seal Cove who rallied to the challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're moving into public hearing. Item 1, review and possible action concerning establishment of Prop 218 limits for solid waste disposal fee increase.
Thank you, Catherine. So this is an item that is coming up this time of the year, every year, at least since we have the franchise agreement with Recology of the Coast that requires this annual assessment. So this is happening in accordance with an agreed upon formula. For this current year, 2025, Recology calculated that is a whooping increase of 22.36%. So first of all, this year is a cost-based year. We have two index-based years of calculations. We look at just fuel cost and other indices. This year is one where we actually look at the actual cost to Recology. That's why this is somewhat elevated. We had this discussion already here at the board. However, we have in our agreement a 6% cap on the rate increase. So that means that we are only asking for a 6% rate increase. For the year 2025, the monthly rate for a 32-gallon waste container would increase from currently $40.55 to $42.98. We mailed notices in October to all property owners in the district, to all customers and in Montara and Moss Beach, notifying them about the planned rate increase. And we are looking to see if there is any protests. At the time of the preparation of this item, we had 0 protests, and we are about to ask for a full final count here with this public hearing. And so really the purpose of this meeting is to formally count the number of written protests received. If the written protests are submitted against the proposed fee or against a particular fee by the owners of the majority of the parcels, the fees or fee will not become effective. So the recommendation here is really that we are asking to open the public hearing and then we receive the public testimony, close the public hearing, and then count all allowable Prop 218 protests received, determine whether or not the proposed rate limits should be approved in accordance with Prop 218, and If that is the case, then adopt the ordinance that is establishing the maximum rates for the collection, removal, disposal, and refuse for the recycling services, and for the recycling services, and that's effective January 1, 2025. So, Catherine, if I can ask you to open the public hearing, then to receive the public testimony.
Thank you. So this is to open the public hearing to receive the public testimony.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any?
Any public testimony? I don't see anybody waving their hands wildly.
Okay. We don't see anyone here at this point. Oh, no. I'm gonna use your cheat sheet real quick. Okay, so if you could now ask our clerk to confirm the written protest that we received during the hearing, please.
So asking Tracy to tell us about any written public protests.
Yeah, just walk up there to the microphone and just.
It's at your height.
So we received 0 written protest and no majority exists.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So shall we close the public hearing?
We need a motion.
Oh, I need a motion.
Thank you.
I move to close the public hearing.
Thank you. We need a vote. I'll second. Let's take a vote. Sid? Whoops. Sorry, Clemens, that's you. Calling names.
And you were asking me to do something?
We're
Roll
taking the vote
Roll
on
call,
closing
I'm
the
sorry.
hearing.
Director Slater-Carter,
Yes.
Director Softy.
Yes.
Director Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
I'd like to make a comment. When do I get to make a comment?
Now.
Now, thank you. I just wanted to thank the community for understanding how hard this district works to keep the costs in line with what it takes to live here and also what it takes to keep our local businesses being able to provide the essential services that we need. And we have a somewhat complex contract in terms of pricing. We keep the price low, and then depending on what's going on with inflation and COLA and all that things, we have to keep the trash company and every other company or service we work with able to stay in business. So that's why we have this catch-up area. For a lot of years, we didn't have anything to catch up. And then recently, the way things have been going, it's important to keep them healthy because we have to pay the workers, the gas, the trucks, all the fees that are involved. And I will note that I have been reading for the last couple months that gasoline is going to be going up for everyone, 65 cents a gallon here in California. We will probably have things are happening in the economy at large. So I really appreciate the public for understanding this and standing with us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Catherine. And I did forget to mention that actually the Recology manager is attending this meeting. His name is not visible, but I just want to make sure that if there should have been any questions, he's available to answer any questions. So I understand we have a motion that adopts the fees, right?
Yes. Bill, would you like to?
I move we adopt the rate.
No, we've got to adopt
Oh, we have to order something else first?
the establishment of Prop 218 limits.
Sorry, that's what I'm looking.
Yeah. And I will second that. And Tracy can make sure we put the right words in when she does the minutes. And, so roll call, please.
Okay, so I'm just going to clarify. So this is essentially the adoption of the ordinance, the motion.
Next in order.
Next in order. So that is Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Softke,
Yes.
Director Young.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Good. Next item, review and possible action concerning adoption of a revised master fee schedule to amend the solid waste disposal fees.
Yeah, thank you. So this is now we adopted the actual rates. We set the maximum allowed limit for the rates, and now we would like to establish the maximum Prop 218 limit in the master fee schedule. So we would like to amend the master fee schedule. So we are essentially plugging these new rates into the master fee schedule. I do want to point out that there is an additional new fee that we're also adding. So there is one, so we're updating all solid waste related fees through that Prop 218 process that was just approved. And we are also adding one additional fee for the water side, and that is for the abandonment of pipelines. So we have some developer funded projects require the removal of old pipelines, and that requires and this is essentially a 2-day process for our staff. Adds a lot of work, and for the associated preparation, customer notification, and the supervision of the shutdown, we are implementing a fee of $560 for this process. So the recommendation is to open the public hearing, consider relevant public testimony, close the public hearing, and then adopt the ordinance of the Montara Water and Sanitary District, restating and amending the master fee schedule.
Thank you. So let's open the public hearing for review and possible action concerning adoption of a revised master fee schedule to amend the solid waste disposal fees. Comments, please. Wow.
I do not see any comments at this point.
Okay.
Can we illustrate the justification for the fee raise?
Illustrate. Could you
Could you
define?
define why the fee is being raised, please?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. This was the item before this item that explained this process. So in the item before, we explained that the contract with Recology has essentially, we're looking this year at a cost-based increase. There is, it's a rhythm of 2 index-based cost increases where we just consider essentially fuel cost and other costs that are clearly identified by indices. So we have 2 of those years, and now we're looking actually at the actual cost to provide the services. We have a 6% cap on this increase. And due to the fact that with last year's increase, Last year's increase was already greater than 6%, and that is based on the actual cost to provide services. These are slip fees. These are new trucks. These are union negotiations, et cetera, that Recology is running into, and that essentially increase the cost for Recology. So last year we had already an increase that was greater than 6%. So this is essentially added to this year. This year, the cost increase was calculated at over 22%. But because we have a cap in the contract, a cap of 6% rate increase, a cap on the increase, that is why we're asking only for a 6% rate increase at this time. And the additional increase is essentially deferred. And it's really deferred to the end of the contract.
Lisa, I understood you to be asking about the new $560 pipe abandonment fee.
Oh, no, we were asking about the fee for increasing the cost of Recology.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So are you comfortable? Are you informed?
So
Yeah.
it sounds like the Recology is raising their rates at a rate that's substantially above inflation, and we're somewhat trapped in our relationship with them to just pay what they are asking for. And if we defer, or if we adhere to the contract, which requires no more than 6% increase, the increase we're just deferring it to a future time.
We are smoothing the increase, but it is not based on hypotheticals. We actually have our accountants and staff look at what Recology is asking for, and we run an independent analysis.
Yes, so we're actually looking at Recology's audits. So we are diving as deep as possible into the numbers. And yeah.
But we don't really have an option here, it sounds like.
Well, I mean,
No.
we do have not for the 6%, I would say, because that is what the contract specifies. Let me say it this way, the contract for quite a number of years, I can't tell you exactly, but I think it's for another 4 or 5 years. So one of the things that we can do is we can start negotiating early with Recology and try to smooth, the increase that we understand is going to hit us at the end, and try to smooth that out as well with Recology, if that makes sense.
It does, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's close the public hearing on the review and possible action concerning the adoption of a revised master fee schedule to amend the solid waste fees.
I propose we close the public hearing.
Thank you. I will second that. And we need a roll call.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Sofke,
Yes.
Director Young,
Sid?
I guess you didn't notice I had my hand up during that last go round.
Sorry, make your
I was
comment.
just going to say, is it usual, Clemens, that we do negotiate now that we know there's a definite increase coming? We will negotiate hard when that increase hits us, right? To help out the people, the ratepayers, not have a huge increase when it happens.
that's
That
how
what you were implying when you said that we could try to do that starting now or soon, or just wait till we.
Yes, I mean, we're going to start before the end of the contract, yes.
Okay. That sounds good enough to me. I'm hoping we're not going to get stuck with a huge increase for everybody, but you never know with the economy. Thank you.
suggest you talk to the air quality board to see if they can keep the gas prices down.
Boy, I sure hope so. So
Yeah.
I guess you were in the middle of a roll call. I might as well say yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion carries. To close the public hearing, and we are at a motion then to open the public hearing, consider, oh, I'm sorry, adopt ordinance next sanitary district the master fee schedule. And I'll second.
Um, Director Sofsky, Director Young.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
To the consent agenda. There are 10 items. I will read them. Approve minutes for regular board meeting November 7, 2024. Approve financial statements for October 2024. Approve warrants for December 1st, 2024. Accept the SAM flow report. The monthly current, review the monthly current investment portfolio. There's a report on connection permit applications received. There is a report on the monthly water production report. But anyway, there is a rain report, a monthly solar energy report, and a monthly public agency retirement service report for September 2024. Do we have any items that you would like to withdraw or discuss? Sid?
Sorry. I just was happy to see, or not happy to see, but take note of the SAM flow report. It's
Right.
64.5% or whatever for Half Moon Bay's flow. It's interesting. That's all I wanted to point out. Thank you.
And as you noted, it has been going up.
I did note that.
Agenda,
I so move.
a second. I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Slater Carter.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, there are no items. Your new business, first item is review and possible action concerning the receipt of the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit. The second item to follow that will be review and possible action concerning the agreement with San Mateo County Pre-Hospital Emergency Medical Service Communications Equipment on the schoolhouse tank. So let's start with the review and possible action considering for audit.
Thanks, Catherine. So we worked this year again with Cropper Accountancy. They completed the audit for this fiscal year, the last fiscal year that ended on June 30, 2024 for us. And we have Bryce Rojas here, our audit partner. He's going to make a presentation on the audit and will be available to answer any questions. We also have our accountant, Peter Medina, available to discuss the audit process or answer any questions. And after the audit has been reviewed, the board should acknowledge the receipt and file it so that we can file it with county, state, Standard & Poor's, iBank, Chase Bank. So all our debtors. So the recommendation is really to acknowledge the receipt of the annual audit for the period June 30, 2024, and direct the general manager to send a copy to County of San Mateo and other debtors. We also going to post it on the district website and make copies available to the public, of course. And with that, I'm just going to ask Bryce to take over and just start telling us how our fiscal year 23-24, how our audited statements are looking like. Bryce.
Thank you for having me. Am I sharing my screen correctly?
Yes.
All right, great. First try. Well, thank you for having me this evening. It's always a pleasure to audit the Montara Water Sanitary District. This is the second year we've done it, and it's a pleasure. I really enjoy it. Of course, as an auditor, I like clean and tidy work papers and all the numbers tying out. But I really enjoy working with good people, and that's what we have here at Montara Water and Sanitary District. And so I appreciate that. And we did receive clean and tidy work papers, and all the numbers were good this year, and we didn't have any material misstatements. We don't believe the financials are materially misstated as they're presented, so we were able to issue an unmodified opinion. That's the technical term, or it's a clean opinion. Everything appears to be materially misstated or materially stated correctly. And as a part of our audit, we look at the internal controls of financial reporting, and we don't give an opinion on the internal controls, but we look at them and we notice if there's anything wrong. This year, we did not notice any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. A material weakness would indicate that it's probable or possible that the financials could be misstated. And then a significant deficiency is just less in severity. And we didn't note any of those, either of those. This year, we also performed a single audit on funds received from the federal government through the state. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Regarding those funds, we also issued an unmodified opinion on that program. And we did not note any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies over compliance with the grant program. So that's good. So everything's looking great. So here's the financial highlights for the district at June 30th, 2024. At this time, the district had $37 million in net position, and that's a governmental term for equity, essentially. And of that $37 million, $20 million is what we call net investment in capital assets. So if you take all the capital assets, the land, the machinery, equipment, and that'd be $20 million. You can't sell that. It's not liquid. So we segregate that on the financial statements. The district also has $1 million that is restricted for special use. And then that leaves $15 million with unrestricted net position. If the district were to receive all the money coming in from the customers and pay out all of their liabilities to vendors, they'd be left with almost $16 million. So that's as of June 30th. And from the prior year, June 30th, 2023 to 2024, the net position increased $4.5 million. The operations of the district for the year resulted in a $913,000 loss, but the non-operating results increased net position $4.8 million. And then connection fees also added another $700,000 for the district. And here's a pie chart showing the sources of revenues. As you can see, the two largest items, almost or more than 50%, is for sales and service charges for water and for sewer. Water was about 3.2 million, while sewer was 3.9. And then there's also taxes coming in, interest income, investment income, connection fees, water reliability, grant revenue. That grant revenue is $1.2 million. And like I said, we'll come back to that. And then for the expense side, the majority of it was related to system maintenance and repairs for sewage and SAM. That's 37%. And 1.2 of that was this grant program that was passed on to SAM. The next largest would be general and administrative services, and then depreciation on the capital assets. And total expenses were about $8.16 million for the year. And so during December 2022 and January 2023, SAM, Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side, experienced a lot of damage due to the winter storm events that were occurring. And so they were unable to apply for grant funds. So Montara Water Sanitary District applied on behalf of the SAM and received $1.168 million in total grant funds. All of it was coming, large portion of it was from FEMA. And then Cal OES, the Office of Emergency Services, added in another $300,000. And all of that came into Montara and then was passed right back through to SAM. So SAM was the one who expended all that for their plant. And just some highlights on debt. It decreased. Payments went about $1.3 million in long-term debt or payments for GO bonds and the other loans. Capital assets increased by almost $1 million, $977,000. A lot of that was in additions to the sewer and water. $2 million for the sewer, $440,000 for the water, and then the depreciation on the assets that have already been existing for the sewer is $538,000, with $1 million also for the water. And so the net increase for sewer activities, capital assets was about $1.6 million, and then the water side had about $583,000 decrease on their asset balances, capital asset balances. That's just the fixed assets. And then for the pension, the net pension liability at year end was only $32,000, almost $33,000, with future outflows of $310,000, and then future inflows to this liability of $23,000. So there was a net pension expense of $42,000 related to the GASB pension, which I think of as GASB 68. That's the governmental accounting standard, but for the pension liability. So the district's doing well. You got good people there accounting for all the activities well. And so if you have any questions, I'm here for you.
We'll take comments from the public for,
I just wanted to mention that, I forgot to mention that while our treasurer can't be here tonight, he is congratulating us for a clean audit. Just wanted to say that. Thank you.
and do we have comments from the public? Sid, you can wait for the board comment, so I'll get to you after we close the public hearing. I don't see anyone else, but I don't see the complete screen.
Actually, this is not a public hearing.
No, it's not a public hearing, the public comment.
Okay.
Thank you. So I don't see any hands up. Do you, Clemens?
I don't see any, except Sid's.
Okay, let's close the public hearing and go to board comments. Sid.
This was a question for Bryce. When you were showing your pie charts, I didn't see anything there that showed sorry, I'm having a brain fade here. Our legal outlay that we spend, does that fall under general administration, or when we have our legal that we have to pay out for?
Peter can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of it or all of it is under general and administrative.
Okay, that's all I was looking for, is to see if there was a part of that pie chart that showed how much we have to pay to defend ourselves in the SAM lawsuit against our neighbor. Thank you.
Of the audited fund, the audit figure is rolled up in G&A. In about a month, we'll go through and have the presentation to show the budget versus actual as compared with the audit, which is going to get far more in depth as far as the individual expenditure line items. So this is Bryce is just going over big picture.
Yeah, I was only looking for a big picture, but that's okay. If it's all rolled in there, then the public doesn't see it and I don't see it. That's all. That's
no.
okay though.
Oh, no, we see it. On
You
the
know where it is.
on the consent agenda on a monthly basis, we
Yeah.
are displaying those figures regularly.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Christine, I'd like you to comment on why it is standard to roll those kinds of expenses in, particularly for ongoing litigation.
Well, those legal fees are administrative expenses, despite the fact that they're for lawsuits. And like Peter said, those are itemized out on a monthly basis and presented to the public and the board, obviously. I'm not sure that answers your question.
If I may just add a little bit.
Oh, great. Yes.
These classifications are industry-wide. You can go to New York and look at a sanitary district, and you'll see basically the same amount of, or the same classifications. And so this is to keep it uniform nationwide on how everything is presented, and you can for comparability. But the budgets will show more of the detail on that.
Thank
I hope
you.
that helped.
I just didn't want anyone making assumptions that we were trying to hide information from the public.
No, I didn't. I was wondering if there was a breakout and I didn't see one. So thank you, Bryce.
Thank you. Seeing no more public do you have a comment, Bill? I have no comments. We need a motion to adopt to vote on the receipt of the audit for
I
2023.
Move that we receive the audit.
Thank you. I'll second. Roll call.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Sofke.
Yes.
Director Young.
Yes.
Okay,
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Review, item 2, review and possible action concerning agreement with San Mateo County Pre-Hospital Emergency Medical Services Group for the installation of emergency communications equipment at the schoolhouse tank site.
Yeah, thank you. So the Coastside Fire Protection District is in need for a new antenna location. Their communication system that connects the Moss Beach Fire Station with the rest of the county is not in an ideal place. So they have so their radio frequency engineers had concerns historically about the location. The station is now to be they're planning to modernize the existing fire station. So that's really another trigger point for the Coastside Fire Protection District to look for a relocation of the antenna. And so we've been working with the Coastside Fire Protection District for about 1.5 years on this agreement that you see in front of you. So what we were asked to consider housing the antenna at the schoolhouse tank site. And so we met with the Coastside Fire District. We met also with the RF engineers. And this is really now the engineers are with the San Mateo County Pre-Hospital Emergency Medical Services Group, and that is a joint powers agency that is essentially in charge of this communication system within San Mateo County. So the schoolhouse site is indeed ideal for the fire district. We do not own the schoolhouse site, but we have rights to have the tanks there. The site is actually currently owned by Mid-Penn Housing and Mid-Penn Housing Corporation. So both Mid-Penn as well as we are open to providing this location to the Coastside Fire District for their communication needs. And so we negotiated this agreement with great detail actually that essentially specifies that they would be able to install their equipment, which is, I mean, it's physically not much, on the schoolhouse tank site. Whole thing is going to happen in 2 phases. First, there's going to be just an antenna mounted on the tank and a cabinet space actually that we can provide for inside the schoolhouse directly into the pump house. There's some space that we are not utilizing. So whatever is done